aren't moving right because they are choosing fascism. They are moving right because the left made them the villains in their anime fanfiction. It's not that they all like Trump, it's that they all hate you. I don't say this with any love for the Republican Party. In fact, if anything, I say it with love for the Democratic Party. I hate them, but deep down, I wish they could be better. I'm doing this for your own good. Shh. Go sleep, shh.
She said it, that was it. It's because we hate Harris. We hate what's been going on the last 4 years. We hate the fact that we can't buy groceries or get to work because gas is too expensive. We hate how they're waving all this woke propaganda in our faces, our children's faces. I don't care for Trump. I don't care for politics in general. But all this foolishness going on in the world is making me think, I don't like said foolishness. Let's maybe go a bit backwards. We can still be progressive, but still prioritize some traditional values.
Hello everyone, and happy 1-year anniversary to my male loneliness epidemic video. I'm happy to announce that since that video uploaded, the discourse has greatly improved. People all around the world are taking men's issues more seriously, and the gender war has finally come to an end.
Psych.
Just kidding, everything has gotten worse and nobody has learned anything. From the witches on The View cackling about how men are useless,
do we need men? Men are useless.
to women online saying they'd rather be stranded in the woods with a bear than a man.
Would you rather be stuck in a forest with a man or a bear?
The bear. Bear.
It seems that things
Yeah, I don't know who came up with a question like that because it's ridiculous. These answers are ridiculous. You'd rather be mauled to death by a bear than, I don't know, meet some random dude, some random guy. This is the weirdest form of masochism I've ever witnessed.
things have gotten more toxic than ever, and the gender divide couldn't be any wider, especially politically.
In 2008, 58% of young people leaned Democratic. 2012, 53%. And in the last 2 major election years, that percentage held steady at 55%. But in 2023, that number dipped below 50% for the first time since 2005. And you'll notice right here, they've started to lean more Republican. And that's partly because of one specific group: young men.
With this election being hailed by the media as the man versus woman election, according to any and all data coming out recently, men—
Trump, 2-0, 2-0 from letting a woman in office. He's doing the Lord's work.
all around the world have shifted more right, and women have shifted more left. But women going more left was not the focus of this month's outrage. The outrage, of course, was about men. That's right, we got our yearly, oh no, what is happening to men? Why are they moving to the right freakout? But unlike last year, this freakout isn't solely happening on the internet, no. It's also happening in Washington, D.C.
There are only 46 days until Election Day, and the Harris-Walz campaign is struggling to appeal to a group of voters that could determine the outcome of the election, and that is men.
The Harris campaign is making an aggressive last-minute effort to win over younger male voters.
Now, before you celebrate or grab your pitchforks, this is not a pro-Trump video. This is a do-better video. This is a mommy's not mad, she's disappointed video. Actually, I lied. Mommy's pretty mad. In this video, I am going to be addressing the Democrats' so-called man problem, the recent discourse about men moving right, the last-minute pandering the Democratic Party is doing to get them back, what they could be doing instead, and of course, going over some terrible opinions. In a world where it seems like everything men do and like is toxic, from eating meat to working out to even having a beard.
I can't be a carnivore. I can't work out. And now I can't have a beard? What kind of clown show is this? What, just pure indicators of what, a misogynist? Am I a misogynist? Absolutely not. I have my opinions. Sure. Who doesn't?
I have been documenting the internet and society in general's growing and widely accepted hatred of men. This has been happening for a very long time. And if you dare spoke up about it, you were called an incel or a pick-me, depending on your gender. But seemingly, almost out of nowhere, there has been a change of heart.
You know, I think men are in crisis, actually, in this country. I think that plays out different ways. But I think we need to have a real conversation about that.
Oh,
wow,
all of a sudden.
Mainstream media talking about this? I wonder why they care so much now. Democrats fear Harris losing too many male voters to Trump. Oh. Signs have been mounting that, for the first time in recent decades, Democrats may lose majority support from young men in 2024. The risk to Democrats is that this is not just a one-time fluke, but an indication of growing trouble with men in coming elections. Democrats can celebrate the support they are getting from young women, but they also need to take the disaffection of young men seriously, engage them directly, and respond to the visions of manhood and masculinity that Donald Trump and JD Vance are offering. Alright, Kamala, you got 2 weeks to reverse anti-male propaganda and resentment fueled by our government, media, and institutions. How are you gonna do it? Harris campaign creating space for white dudes.
That's so disingenuous. So disingenuous. Not at one point, well, she never said anything during her whole campaign, but not at one point, like as a man, the little that I did see made me go, oh, you know what? I want her to lead me. She knows what's best for me. It's crazy how you can't even appeal to both genders. You definitely can. And in the long run, I'm pretty sure women are going to be thankful Trump was in office compared to Harris. They just don't see it yet because they just want chaos and freedom. And as a society, as a household, as a foundation, you just can't let all your members, all the people, have too much freedom. They can't do whatever they want. We can't just let everybody do whatever they want, because then it leads to a 7-year-old boy getting put on hormone blockers because he doesn't know whether he's a boy or a girl, which is not even a life-changing decision that he needs to be making so early. Usually it's, oh, what kind of ice cream do I want? Or do I want to play outside or stay inside today? Like what's going on? Or allowing biological men to play in women's sports. I swear, if I had a daughter and she loves sports, she's putting her everything into it just to get beat out by some dude who shouldn't even be there. Oh, I would go and say, it's not fair. It is absolutely not fair. Oh, but he's taking estrogen now. And he's still built like a brick shit house. Who are you fooling?
Harris campaign creating space for white dudes. Oh, that's a great idea. I mean, a little too late, but I'm glad you're finally doing to be honest about role in history. Oh. It's always a space for white men to talk about how much they suck.
What made you start this group, White Dudes for Harris? And I suspect some of it has to do with the polling.
Yeah, for far too long, the left has essentially ceded white men to the MAGA right. There's large parts of the left who have gone out of their way to alienate white men over the last couple of years. And that's understandable in many ways. We decided that we wanted to create space for white men to be a part of electing Vice President Harris.
At the top of the call, White Dudes for Harris organizer Ross Morales Roquito said he wanted to address what he called the elephant in the room, criticism surrounding an event organized for white men given the country's history of racism. A lot of people felt uncomfortable about the call, he said. Throughout American history, when white men organized, it was often with pointy hats on. They can't even have their gay little Zoom call where they circle jerk about hating themselves without their own movement going, yikes! A bunch of white males in one space? Seems kind of like the KKK. Black people can have their little groups and that's fine, but if a bunch of white people get together, well, that's just called breadtube.
Even I don't have an issue with like white groups getting together. I don't know what their interest is, and I'm pretty sure it's not solely based on being white. It's an activity that attracts white people, like fishing or drinking beer. What else do white people do? Tennis? I don't know white spaces. Trump rallies, I guess. Is that what you guys want?
Never mind. White Dudes for Harris. I mean, she's doing pretty bad with Latinos, too. What's next? Hombres con Harris? Oh. So basically, men are leaving the Democratic Party in droves, and it's not looking too good for the Democrats. So it wasn't long until everyone's favorite discourse hit Twitter again. If Kamala loses, which is very possible, there needs to be a real discussion about how Democrats speak to and reach young men. If Kamala loses. If she wins, there doesn't have to be a discussion. We shouldn't change anything. Clearly, we're doing everything right. To be clear, I'm not saying we need to worry about women less or change any positions. I'm saying the polling around young men is concerning, and if it turns out to be true, we need to have a discussion about how condescending we are coming off to a huge part of the electorate. To be clear, I'm not saying we have to change anything, I'm just wondering why men aren't voting for us. What? I am gonna regret posting this so hard. And oh boy did he, the replies were insane, to say the least. I must admit, I cringed reading most of this. I feel that one thing you didn't address is the systemic entitlement bestowed upon white men in the US. That sense of
Oh my
entitlement,
God.
that privilege they felt for eternity, is eroding. Systemic entitlement they have felt for eternity? They're like 22 years old. The f do you mean eternity? Who is this like 200-year-old man? So young men are snowflakes with hurt fifis because they're not the center of attention anymore. Got it. So are they poor little snowflakes, boo-hoo, or are they scary fascists that are gonna turn America into the Handmaid's Tale? Because they can't be both. You either care about the future
True.
or you don't. You cannot simultaneously hand wave away men moving to fascism, but also fearmonger about it. Hi, man here. Maybe men just need to stop being absolute pieces of dog shit. It seems like the easiest thing to do, right? I don't feel alienated or uncomfortable with democratic messaging because I'm not a complete wannabe fascist cheese dick incel loser who thinks he's the good guy.
Bro, she's not gonna sleep with you. What are you doing? This will change nothing. There's so much questionable things about you that's already a problem. You don't need to side with the enemy, with women, just so you can smack some cheeks. I know what your intentions are. You didn't have to write any of this. Hello, guy here, who has just an eyeball as their profile picture, and who has a crow with whatever the heck, a popsicle stick in its mouth as their profile picture, and you think you're gonna clap some cheeks just because you agree with them.
They just need to get off their asses, stop playing video games, and get real jobs. First of all, what real jobs? These guys are coming out of college with useless diplomas and there are no jobs. Also, what an out-of-touch boomer-ass take. Get off your ass and stop playing those video games from the generation who watches TV 24/7. I don't want to hear it. Tell them to get therapy. Tell them whatever you told or gave to women in the 1950s. They made this bed, let them sleep alone in it. Or be f***ing better men. Any other group of people and it's, oh, boo-hoo, poor baby, let me rewire all of society so your feelings aren't hurt. And then with men, it's get therapy. Be f***ing better. While there is truth in messaging needs to be better from Democrats as a whole, I reject that telling young men they need to be better is the problem. They are trash in their nature, and if they can't do the work to not be toxic waste of seed, that's on them.
Then what does that make you, bro? This was such an unnecessary post, right? There's a dude who's expressing his concern, and then this other guy, this other brother, if we want to call him that, he seems whitewashed. That's you like to say I'm whitewashed. This motherfucker, this fool, he is whitewashed. Like, what? Young men are trash in their nature, and if they can't do the work to not be toxic waste of seed, then that's on them. Who even talks like that? And he talks like a white woman.
Vote for my team, by the way. We may not want to hear it, but this is what the data reflects. There is a massive loneliness epidemic in this country, which is disproportionately affecting men. Instead of calling them incels or mocking them, we should be willing to hear out their concerns. Wow,
Thank
a
you.
surprisingly good tweet in a sea of bullshit. That's nice to see. I could be wrong, but I'm assuming you're a straight white man, so yeah, go do something about it. Why are you guys bothering the rest of us with this? I can't figure it out. Because I would like for Democrats to win the election. Why do you care about men suffering? Because I want to win the election. Amazing. This is the issue right here. Start seeing men as people and not numbers in polls. That is step one. You can't even do step one. Apparently, Kamala Harris has a secret weapon to win over male voters.
Kamala Harris is turning to her running mate, Tim Walz, hoping he is the secret weapon who can chip away at Donald Trump's support from men.
Much like how Trump chose Pence to win over the more establishment Republican voters, Kamala seems to have chosen Tim Walz to try and win over the white male vote. So what the f was this? Putting out a bunch of ads of Tim Walz changing the air filter in a car, clumsily shooting a gun, and drawing a political football play-by-play. Trotting out Walz like some kind of minstrel show of a white man. Like a man dressing up like a man for Halloween. You don't gotta do all this, bro, I promise you. And they don't shy away about how that's exactly what they are trying to do. Tim Walz is clearly a Midwest man's man, but he's the antidote to toxic MAGA masculinity. Despite his typically masculine resume as a Midwestern football coach and veteran, Walz is utilizing those qualities to push forward a more progressive, compassion-based form of masculinity. Part of being a vice president is understanding that you are just that, someone who is there to aid and support the president. Walz simply being there on the ticket with a woman and taking a back seat to his running mate, Vice President Kamala Harris, is him embracing his leadership role in a positive, masculine way. Football coach and cheerleader, how Tim Walz is defining masculinity. Amy Deal, a sexism researcher and author of the 2023 book Glass Walls, told USA Today that men like Walz who are intentional about rejecting traits and beliefs commonly dubbed as toxic masculinity are the tonic to harmful stigma associated with expectations of men and boys. He shows you can be masculine, but also not threatened by women as equals or women who are in positions of power. In fact, you can be cheerleaders for them. Notice the common theme here.
Oh god. Cheerleaders. Oh my god. Jesus Christ. Does anybody see like what's happening here? What true masculinity should be? What they're trying to establish? A man just who could just take the back seat, just take the back seat and let a woman feel powerful, right? No questions asked, just let it happen. This is a clown show, and honestly, I don't have an issue. I have no issue with there being a female president for a woman to be in charge. I don't have any issue with that whatsoever.
From the outside looking in, the right promises young men a return to the good times, of the glorious past. You know, the one your grandfather had. The Coca-Cola ad rose-tinted version of the past. Back when you could afford a house and support a family on one income. While the left, which historically, in my opinion, had the policies to make that happen, are instead trying to sell men a vision of the future. And well, the future is female. A future where you're no longer playing the game, men. You're on the sidelines being a cheerleader. Doesn't that just sound so exciting? Like, what the hell is going on inside these DNC consultant meetings? I really gotta know. Does anyone have any ideas on how to appeal to young men? And please, for the love of God, do not say we have to offer them anything or change in any way. I got it. What? Camo hats. We did that. Vasectomy bus. We did that. Have you perhaps tried nagging them? Yes, we've been doing that. Say, you know that whole male loneliness epidemic thing? Are you thinking what I'm thinking? Oh yeah.
It's a really nice place. Have you been here before?
Yeah, it's one of my favorite spots. I bring everybody here.
I said now I go on a lot of dates, but
Hey man, if you don't vote for Kamala Harris, women won't fuck you. Brilliant. Young men should know that if you vote for Trump, you're basically never going to get laid. I mean, is it incorrect? Don't think so. Trump gives girls the ick. Vote Harris, get laid. They are not beating the pretending to be progressive to get laid allegations with this one.
Sure, I can. You think this is a topic that comes up on the first date? Come on. I don't say anything until I smash.
Also, pretty weird and like low-key sexist to imply like women are some prize for voting the correct way. Hey, and if all else fails, go after the Gooner vote.
Oh! Sorry, you can't do that.
What the hell, man? How'd you get in here?
I'm your Republican congressman. Now that we're in charge, we're banning nationwide.
I'm sorry. I love this ad. The one time they speak to men directly, and it's, hey men, the Republicans are gonna take away one of the only vices you use to numb the pain. So vote for us. Bleak.
Personally, I would ban porn, but legalize prostitution. Prostitutes, they're not there just to have sex. They're there to talk to you, to listen to you, to provide you comfort. You know, give a man some experience. So a man's not nervous when he actually encounters a nice young lady. Personally.
Believe it or not, this wasn't the worst of it.
I'm a man.
I'm a man.
I'm a man, man.
And I'm man enough.
I'm man enough to enjoy a barrel-proof bourbon.
Neat.
Man enough to cook my steak rare. You think I'm afraid to rebuild a carburetor? I eat carburetors for breakfast.
I'll tell you another thing I sure as shit am not afraid of. Women.
When I first saw this, I thought it was a parody created by Republicans to make fun of how hard the Democratic Party is trying to pander to men to get their vote. But alas.
I love women.
I love women who support their families.
Women who decide not to have families.
Women who take charge.
And I'm man enough to help them win.
Everything from them directed towards men has to have like this tone of irony or self-deprecation. They can't even do it sincerely. The crazy thing is the Democratic Party did have a candidate who successfully spoke to the demographic that they are currently trying so hard to reach. His name was Bernie Sanders. And every time he did speak to that demographic or say he was concerned that the Democratic Party didn't do enough to speak to that demographic, he was called a sexist or racist. He was backstabbed multiple times and cheated out of winning the Democratic primaries. His fans were called Bernie bros and constantly berated as sexists and misogynists. His campaign was too white and too male, and this apparently was a top priority to remedy in future campaigns. We were told,
dude, like the left, liberals, Democrat, I don't know, like those people, like they're trying so hard to make this movement, right? Like we need this world needs change. Our country needs to do better. We're not doing enough. There's just too many problems right now, and we just all need to think the same thing. We just all need to be sheep and just be in la la land and just have good things happen to everyone, to good people everywhere. Disregarding like real world problems, what's happening in their backyard, what's happening to their neighbors, what's happening to the less fortunate. Let's just disregard all that and just be in the same little beehive, like be in the same membrane. We all have to think the same. You can't have any other interests. Are you freaking kidding me? Dude, what kind of society is that? But then now what? You're trying to drag men down? You're not even in a lower status than men are. There isn't anything there isn't a right that a man has that you don't have. And yet anytime a man strays away from like the one think, and anytime a man has one view that differs from you, he's Satan. He should be discarded. He's not even a human being at that point. Like there's no sympathy. Like how do people claim to be empathetic, and as soon as there's a disagreement, they're just hateful people. Why can't people have a difference in opinion and still be civil? I can't date nobody like that. Oh my, that's like the one thing I make clear before we get serious. No, even when we're dating, I'm like, hey, listen. Before all else, you need to be respectful, okay? Your feelings are valid. I get that. You're angry. I understand that. But you can't talk to me any type of way just because you're upset. You can't call me out my name. You can't be cursing me out, especially in front of other people. You can't. You cut that off, okay? Let's talk about it when we get home. I'm happy to. I'm open to it. Let's do it. I love a compromise. I do. I really do. But there's ways of going about it. This will get your ass in trouble.
Some Democrats are nervous the party was too late to realize the problem. These Democrats worry that the party has focused too much on courting women voters, LGBTQ voters, and culturally progressive voters, alienating too many men in the process. There's a recognition that we're losing men, and the things we're doing around men haven't been working. I think a lot of it is a reaction to social progressivism done the wrong way, says David Hogg. Young men, he says, feel like progressives look down on them for saying the wrong thing, even when it's a mistake. That discomfort is enough to drive them away from the Democratic Party, even if they don't necessarily agree with Republicans. They would rather be around someone they don't agree with who doesn't judge them, than somebody they do agree with who judges them constantly. Men aren't moving right because they are choosing fascism, they are moving right because the left made them the villains in their anime fanfiction. It's not that they all like Trump, so they all hate you, and no amount of camo hats is going to fix that. I don't say this with any love for the Republican Party. In fact, if anything, I say it with love for the Democratic Party. I fucking hate them, but deep down, I wish they could be better. I'm doing this for your own good. Shh. Go sleep, shh. Go sleep, I love you, go sleep. Shh.
She said it, that was it. It's not that we like Trump, we love Trump. It's because we hate Harris. We hate what's been going on the last 4 years. We hate the fact that we can't buy groceries or get to work because gas is too expensive. We hate how they're waving all this woke propaganda in our faces, our children's faces. I don't care for Trump. I don't care for politics in general. But all this foolishness going on in the world is making me think, I don't like said foolishness. Let's maybe go a bit backwards. You know, we can still be progressive, but still prioritize some traditional values, right? I think that, it worked. It worked. The polarity in men and women brought out the best in each other. It doesn't seem all that bad, not to me. Not with what we're getting right now. I want a better life for everyone, but who's gonna lead the way? That's what's important. We want a better life for everyone, but who's at the helm of the ship? Who's the captain? It's huge, and I could understand why people would vote for Trump. That's somebody personally I wouldn't mind following.